Hi, I'm Kevin Wilhelm, the CEO of Sustainable Business Consulting. And many of you have been caught in the attention of the political debate that's been going on in our country. We had the convention for the Republicans in Cleveland just a few weeks ago. We had the convention for the Democrats in Philadelphia. And while our country is more divided than ever, I thought, where are people united? Where do people from red states and blue states, from Republicans and Democrats, conservatives and liberals, how do they come together? And it's pretty obvious. They come together around sports. So people who might have the most divergent political views may root for the same sports team in the same town, or they may be in different states but still root for the same team. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you how, hypothetically, if our election were to play out just using the sports teams and what happened in 2016, how the election of 2016 is going to play out. So we just completed the NBA Finals, for example, and you had the Cleveland Cavaliers defeating the Golden State Warriors. So you had Cleveland from a battleground state, so not necessarily a blue state, but they were a blue state the last two elections, over the Golden State Warriors, which are from California. So for example, Ohio, which is currently a battleground state, defeated the much larger blue state. So advantage red state or blue state? On this one we're going to say push. So you take a look at the NFL, the most popular sport, by television and probably most important in the United States. And let's see how it played out in the Super Bowl. You had the Denver Broncos, who are from a battleground state, but has been gone blue in the last two elections, over the Carolina Panthers, who are obviously from a red state. So again, you have a battleground state, which has gone blue the last two elections, over what is another battleground state, but leaning Republican. So I got to go advantage blue states. In Major League Baseball, you had the Kansas City Royals, who their uniforms are blue, but they're from a red state. So you had Kansas City over the New York Mets, who are obviously from a blue state. But you can't really root for the Mets, ever. So you get Kansas City, which is located here in Missouri. Many people think, is it in Kansas? No, the actual Royal Stadium is right on I-70, right in Missouri. And they defeated the much larger, more electorally significant New York Mets of 29. Advantage, red states. Now in the NHL, you had the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are from Pennsylvania. You had them beating the San Jose Sharks from California. But let's really be, real here. Who's the biggest loser? Canada. So again, you have Pittsburgh, which is leaning Democratic, but is currently thrown out as a battleground state. But in the last four election cycles, it's been a blue state, defeating again the California, much bigger and darker blue state. We're going to go on this one, advantage blue states. Now in Major League Soccer, you had a lot of you are still thinking, that's not Major League, but let's be honest here. Major League Soccer is the big deal. The Seattle Sounders actually outdraw the Mariners here. Now you're wondering, okay, how did that play out? Well, you had the Portland Timbers, who are from Oregon, obviously a blue state, over the Columbus Crew, which again, we've said is a battleground state, but it's gone blue in the last two elections. Now, typically in this one, we should say advantage blue states. But because it's the Portland Timbers, we're going to say advantage push. Again, Portland being from Oregon, only 7 electoral votes over Ohio, which is a battleground at 18. We got to say push on that one. Just so you don't think we're only concentrating on men's sports here, let's go to the WNBA, where we have one of the greatest teams in all of professional sports, the Minnesota Lynx, who totally dominated the Indiana Fever. So you're wondering, okay, how does that play out? We're going to show you. You got Minnesota, deep, deep, deep blue state. They were one of the only states that actually voted for Mondale. And you've got them defeating the Indiana Fever right here. Hoosier Land, home of basketball. Advantage blue states. Now with NASCAR is definitely a southern thing, right? Definitely red state. But the problem is Kyle Busch, he's the sprint champion from 2015. Now where does he come from? He comes from Nevada. Now Busch, being from Nevada, if he didn't have the C here, it'd be clearly a red state. But we need to really look at this. Nevada, battleground state. It's gone blue the last 2 elections. But we're dealing with NASCAR here, so we gotta go advantage red states on this one. In women's professional soccer, obviously 2015 you were swept away by the US women absolutely throttling Japan 5-2 up in Vancouver. But what many of you don't realize is that there's an amazing professional soccer league here in the United States. And in that final, we had Kansas City from Missouri defeating the Seattle Reign. Now the Seattle Reign with a much stronger side, but once again became up bridesmaids. So once again, you've got Missouri over here, their stadium again in Missouri, defeating the much darker blue Washington of the Seattle Reign. Advantage, red states. In the world of women's college basketball, you had the Connecticut Huskies, or UConn, one of the most dominant basketball teams in the entire country. They've won 4 straight NCAA championships. You had UConn, who hails from Connecticut of course, over Syracuse, which is also from nearby New York. So you have Connecticut here with its measly 7 electoral votes. You can't even barely see it. It doesn't get its own little area. Versus New York with 29 electoral votes. Blue state over blue state. So I think you got to go with advantage blue states. And in men's college basketball, we had one of the most thrilling finales to a championship game, probably going back to 1983 when Derek Wittenberg's shot was slammed in by Lorenzo Charles when North Carolina State beat Houston. But in this year's final, you had Villanova, hailing from Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, over North Carolina, where North Carolina had a shot to tie it with just a few seconds left. But then Villanova comes back and hits one right at the buzzer. So you had Villanova, which is battleground but pretty much a blue state, beating North Carolina, which is a red state. So we're going to say advantage blue states. So now that we've gone through all that, we're wondering who's going to win the election. Is it going to be the red states? Is it going to be the blue states? Is it going to be Trump? Is it going to be Clinton? Who knows? But if we look at it from all of what's happened in pro sports in the last year, I think the answer is quite clear. The blue states are going to win the election in 2016.